Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Just Sharing My Thoughts. I am Anandhi, and this is the honest side of building a small business, motherhood, and everything in between. If you're someone who is thinking about doing a pop-up or just want to know what really goes on behind it, then maybe you want to continue watching this video. Pop-up series part 2. After my first pop-up, I eventually did Zak Salaam, and Zak Salaam is huge. The scale itself is very big. The execution is big, the crowd is big. Even the thought of taking a booth there can feel very scary, especially when you're still a small business. But one thing I must say, for me, I feel that I'm very blessed actually. A kind soul I met through one of the pop-ups actually introduced me and helped me set up with another vendor so that I could share a booth and experience it. And this is something I really want to say. In my business journey, I've been blessed not only with supportive customers, but also supportive fellow business owners. People who encouraged me, people who opened doors for me, people who gave me a chance. And I don't take that lightly. So just a shout out to each and everyone who have been there for me. You know who you are. Okay, now going back to Zak Salaam. Okay. So I did Zak Salaam, and the first one was a success, I must say. But let me be honest. For your first few pop-ups, especially the bigger ones, it is never just about the money. Money is a bonus. It is about the learning. You learn how to prepare, you learn how much stock is enough, you learn how much is too much, you learn what kind of crowd comes to different locations. You learn how much energy you have, and you learn how much you can tahan actually. You learn what kind of support you actually need from your family and friends, because big pop-ups require a high level of commitment. The financial commitment is high, especially if you're taking a booth by yourself. Even if you're sharing, the space may be very small. So then the question becomes, how are you going to organize your products in a small space and still make it look presentable? How are you going to make your brand stand out? How are you going to display everything without making it look messy? These are all real questions, and the questions are endless, let me tell you. And honestly, unless you do it, you will never fully know. No amount of advice from another vendor can prepare you completely for the actual experience. For me, Zak Salaam gave me that adrenaline rush. There are people coming, asking questions, inquiring, buying, comparing, walking away, coming back again. And you need to have the capacity and resilience to handle that throughout the day. Especially if you're a caregiver, you have children at home or someone depending on you at home, and your mind is thinking of that at the back, but yet you need to be present fully at a booth with such a high level of pressure and commitment. So for me personally, it was only possible because I had family support. My constants are usually my husband and my brother. They do the real work with me, as well as my dad and my sister who always turn up in one way or another. Okay, and eventually my boy also becomes a part of the prep in his own way. So honestly, if you're asking me, for me, pop-ups have become a whole family event. If you want to do these things, sometimes you really need to bring your whole village, and it is no joke. Okay, so that is just the support itself that is needed to set up and prepare for any pop-up. Now let's talk about the money, because I think this needs to be said clearly. Pop-up cost is not just rental. A lot of people think, okay, the booth is this amount, so if I make that more than that, I'm okay. But actually no. You have the cost of goods, you have rental, you have transport, logistics, you have food and drinks, you have packaging, you have display items, you have props, your time that we don't usually count into this. And technically, if your family or your friends are helping, their time also has value. So even if you calculate your time at $8 or $10 an hour, suddenly the cost becomes much higher. So if you calculate everything properly, many pop-ups may not look profitable at all. Sometimes you break even, most of the times you are actually at a loss. And I want to be honest, if I include every single cost, I cannot say that most of my pop-ups have given me a profit. One or two may have. Beyond that, maybe I broke even. Mostly I'm at a loss. But even then, do I regret doing them? Or why do I continue to do them? Actually, I don't. Because sometimes what you gain is not only money. You gain exposure, you gain leads, you gain followers, you gain people who come back later. You gain confidence, you gain learning. After my first Deepavali Zak Salaam, I remember going home as a very, very happy girl. Not just because of sales during the event, but because of what happened during the whole event, the people who came to talk to me, the words of encouragement that I received, the amount of support that I received from pure strangers was incredible. It was just so overwhelming. And also what happened after that. I had so many inquiries. I had sold out so many bangles. People were put on the waiting list, and I had to go back, prep everything, and I was delivering up till the eve of Deepavali. So you can imagine what a big success that was for me, doing Zak Salaam for Deepavali for the first time. Yeah. So sometimes the real result of a pop-up doesn't happen only during the event. It happens after. That is why exposure matters. But this is also why you need to be clear about why you are doing a pop-up. If you go in only to make money, you may be disappointed. But if you go in for the experience, exposure, learning, network, and understanding your market, then you may gain a lot. You also need to understand the type of event you are entering. For example, in a big bazaar environment, prices may be slashed everywhere. There may be vendors from overseas. There may be people selling at prices local businesses cannot match. So if you are a local brand, you need to know your strength. You may not be able to compete on price. You need to compete on curation, trust, quality, uniqueness, service, and the relationship you have built with your clients and your customers. For me, Zak Salaam was not just about standing there and selling. It was an avenue for my existing clients to come back. It was an avenue for new people to discover me. It was a place where I could showcase items that were not already easily available in the market. That is where the value was. But not every year or every event will be the same. One year it was a huge success. The year after it was the complete opposite. So this also follows the trend. One year one thing may be trending and you will be a success. The year after it could be the exact opposite. The crowd may be different, the response may be slower. You may break even or you may not. And that is part of the reality. So would I do Zak Salaam again anytime soon? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe if the timing, location, cost, and preparation all make sense. But now I know the level of commitment it requires. I know the amount of energy it takes. And I know the financial pressure. I know the amount of physical effort that is necessary. And I know that I need to be more intentional. But I'll always be grateful for the experience because those big pop-ups taught me things I could have never learned from selling online. They taught me how far I could go, how much I could withstand, and how much support I had, and how much more my brand can become.